time project if it goes ahead. I'm glad to hear the proponent of wind and solar. Could you raise your hand, please? The gentleman that asked that or commented on how safe they were. I'm glad to hear that he's going to do a study on some farmers to determine if they get sick or not. He's found some people to move the towers closer to their house. That's how they do a study. In regards to the noise levels, and I had it as a question, but it's just, I understand that if you open your window in the evening or during the day and the sound travels in, that's the noise that bothers you. So just a comment that if you trap the noise inside, 40 decibels outside won't cut it because it echoes within the house. I don't know that firsthand. Second question, will consideration be given to urban communities in regards to setbacks? Because I understand a hospital or a school or an elderly person's home, retirement home, would be considered in the 550 meters. And all of those cases would be the people that would be most vulnerable, the young, the ill, and the old. And are the same setbacks used for those institutions? The second question is, will consideration be given to setbacks in regards to our workplaces and buildings that house animals, not being of farmers? The way it looks, a farm building or workshop would not be defined in the setbacks. We spend 12, 14 hours a day in those buildings, longer than most in our house. So if you have a large barn that you have people that work in that barn as well, will that be considered a receptor? I'll ask all my questions and then you can answer all three.
This will be the last I can offer you tonight, until you go through the line again so we can hear other perspectives.
But I haven't been near as long as the guy that was proposing or supporting it, so give me one more after this. Please.
Here, here.
Will consideration be given to setbacks that restrict future growth in rural communities? And I ask that question because if there's a tower goes up 125 meters from a fence line or a property line, and you own a 50-acre farm with no buildings on it, and just suppose you had a son or daughter that wanted to enter into your farm business and raise a family on that 50-acre farm because somebody that sold their soul out to the devil put a turbine 125 meters from your property line, you could not build a home on your property because it's not wide enough to do so. So the turbines restrict our future growth as farmers, and our rural communities are suffering enough with losing people. We need to keep those people in our rural communities.
And your final question, please?
That is my final question. So I'll ask three again, I'd like the answers. Will consideration be given to urban communities in regards to setbacks?
Kevin?
Same setbacks apply in urban areas. The answer is yes, we're bringing forward provincial proposed standards, and these proposed standards will apply in any setting. In terms of again, I see your next question is related in terms of what is the definition of a point of reception. The workplaces are in some cases designated a point of reception. For example, people that work in a hospital or a daycare or a school, as you were mentioning, that is their workplace, and that would be designated a point of reception.
I specifically said farm buildings.
Yes, I'm about to answer that, thank you. In terms of animals and farm buildings, this is something we heard the other night in Chatham-Kent, and if you'd like to propose that we expand the definition of point of reception, that's certainly an opportunity that you have now to do, but it is not, as you read the definition, covered by it.
All my comment would be that the setback should be the 550 meters from lot lines.
Thank you. Your name, please?
My name is William Palmer. I'm a professional engineer. I'm a resident of Saugeen Shores. I do recognize my mayor is here tonight. I thank you for it. I'm also a member of Wind Concerns Ontario. I'm here tonight actually just immediately on return from Copenhagen. I was there presenting a paper to the 3rd International Conference on Wind Turbine Noise. Matter of fact, this time yesterday I was still at the airport. So I noticed it's interesting that one of the goals of this session is to hear public input. I've been providing public input for over 3 years now, and it's unfortunate that none of the input seems to be recognized. I hope there's going to be a change. to look at my questions. My first question to the legislature and to the MOE, as a professional engineer trained at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, in risk assessment, I provided realistic assessment based on actual wind turbine failure rates in Ontario to state that a setback of 120 meters does not provide public safety for the public. People are at greater risk from wind turbines than other generating means. And I'd like to know on what basis was a 120-meter setback shown to be acceptable? What basis was, what training and professional qualification was used to provide that assessment, please?
Sir, I just remind you, we have the folks behind you, if you have multiple questions, give it more time. Give it more time.
Well, I asked my question, the answer?
The safety setbacks were the result of a review of a range of literature, some going from 10 meters with certain calculations related to the size of the wind turbine, out to 125 and up. Some of those came with very detailed risk assessments attached to them, such as yours may very well have. And the point here is that we looked at the risks that were inherent to folks and settled on what we thought was a balanced approach in terms of the risks that present themselves here in Ontario. And some of the considerations that we took into account were some that you mentioned in terms of failure rates, etc. And we landed this blade length plus hub height as being a very protective setback.
It does not, sir, as I gave in my professional opinion to the legislature. Okay, my second comment relates to health effects, sir. My question. The question relates to who said that the health study that was done in Europe in 2007 determined that a study was not needed further in Canada. Sir, at this conference, I deliberately asked the author of that study, Dr. Edja Pedersen of University of Gothenburg, if it is considered that her study would show that no further study should be done in Ontario, that my minister had said that it should not. Her specific words to me were, "Tell him he is wrong."